Hello, how's it going, people? Welcome to the stream. Welcome. Hope everyone's having fantastic day, fantastic time. Everyone's feeling fantastically great. And today, on the cards, we gonna look at something different. Basically, if you recall, I'm very sorry I need to do this on my phone quickly because I have to do this stuff. So I'm gonna do this as quickly as possible. But if you recall, last week we were on cloud 9. Arsenal beat Real Madrid 3-0, and I'm not gonna lie. Sorry. But yeah, Arsenal beat Real Madrid, and that was something insane to say the least. Nobody expected it, let's be real. Even top Arsenal fans didn't predict that, even including myself. I was predicting either a loss or 1-0 or something like that. But in the end, somehow, by some weird goddamn miracle, we absolutely annihilated Real Madrid. Absolutely destroyed. It was 3-0, and now the big question begins. Obviously, it was pray for Madrid and all that stuff from Top Gunners in the beginning, and now the big question is it pray for Arsenal? Because Arsenal, this team has never been to such a place as Bernabeu. Let's be real. None of them have been to Santiago Bernabeu. They don't know how it is. Maybe besides Martin Odegaard, everything is working quite weirdly well for Arsenal, and we are looking quite good, if you ask me. Big up YouTube censors our free speech. Big up watching from London. Big up. And yeah, Arsenal absolutely annihilated them. We pressed the hell out of them. It was 3-0, 12 shots, 11 on target. We were absolutely on point in this regard. 100%, no questions asked. We were absolutely on point. So now basically here is the inspiration behind this stream. Has it become pray for Arsenal? Because, as I said, none of our guys have been basically to Bernabeu, besides Odegaard, as I said. They don't know what's it like, what it takes, and everything. They haven't got the faintest idea. And we all have seen some miraculous comebacks, obviously, in Champions League. Remember Liverpool versus Barcelona. We have seen PSG versus Barcelona, ironically enough. Quite a few of them include Barcelona and everything and all that stuff. But we have seen some miraculous turns, miraculous turnarounds, miraculous changes, which basically led me to discuss this specific phenomenon. Big up G-Star as well, big up my guy. Arsenal, obviously, in 2 days, in 2 day time, at this time as I'm live, will be playing, of course, Real Madrid. Wednesday, 8 p.m. kickoff, Champions League, quarterfinals, and Arsenal, as it looks like, are holding all the cards. Betting sites are giving Arsenal a chance of going through of 80%, which seems quite low. Genuinely, kid you not, it seems quite low. Quite low. 80% after being 3-0 up against Real Madrid. So here comes in play everything. 20% is the more or less the prediction that Real Madrid still have a chance, which seems very high. Let's be real, it stands to a reason that it seems very high, and now it has come to a point where questions have to be asked. How we gonna fare against Real Madrid? What we gonna do against Real Madrid? What Mikel Arteta is gonna put out as the starting 11 against Real Madrid, especially given the latest injury issues. That is the big thing. Just don't let them score early. And that is one of the biggest points. That was one of my biggest starting points. So, before we get into all of this, smash the like button if you haven't already. Helps the YouTube algorithm a lot. Pushes it out to more people so they can join and everything. Subscribe if you're new around here if you haven't already. And of course, leave your thoughts down in the live chat. And here is where it all begins. Don't let them score early. Because the Real Madrid is gonna be pumped up for it. Because there is also this thing, if I can find it, Madrid Extra, Real Madrid Extra, something like that. They are also tweeting stuff out. 48 hours left. Carlo Ancelotti had a 10-minute talk with the players and asked for commitment and extra effort against against Arsenal, sorry. Big up Pepper, big up my guy, hope you're doing fantastically well. And everything, Ancelotti was assertive and ended up raising his tone. So basically he knows his ass is on the line, let's be real, everyone knows that. And Real Madrid also are making an emotional video before the game to get everyone legitimately pumped up for the game. And to add on top of that, they gonna close the roof of Bernabeu to keep the atmosphere as electric as possible in the stadium. And that is something insane. We all know that Bernabeu hits different. We have seen lots of unique things at Bernabeu. We have seen lots of things. And according to Marca as well, Ferland Mendy is still out, for example, against Arsenal, which means either Fran Garcia is going to play there or Camavinga cannot even play there because he got a red card, he has a suspension, which means it's either Alaba once again, where, let's be real, Bukayo Saka had a massive field day against him, or it's going to be Fran Garcia, one of the two. Right back is a different question. Either it's going to be basically Vasquez, which basically means that Martinelli should also have a field day, or it is going to be Valverde. Obviously, Tchouameni is coming back from the suspension, so he is definitely going to play one way or another. Whether it's going to be center back, the midfield, it still determines to be seen. The Bernabeu is going to be a cauldron pressure cooker. Basically, it's going to be cooking with gas, not electricity. It's going to be absolutely insane. I worry that we will wilt under the pressure, and that for me is the one of the two things. Basically, it coincides with what G-Star was saying about a few minutes ago. Don't let them score early, because one of the biggest tasks for Real Madrid will be to score in the first 15 to 20 minutes. In that time frame, if they score, the pressure is on to maximum extent. Because as I like to think about this, as much as Real Madrid have lots to lose, they have nothing to lose. And a wounded animal is the most dangerous at that point. And we all know what Real Madrid actually are capable of. Let's be real, let's not kid ourselves. This is the older reason behind this stream. Pray for Arsenal. Because we were praying for Madrid and it turned out well. There were moments of brilliance thanks to Declan Rice with 2 free kicks and a goal from Merino. Let's be real, 3 phenomenal finishes from players that are actually not strikers. Our midfield was carrying us, both for number 6s to some extent. Courtois was standing on his head because that game should have finished about 5-6-0. And you can bet your ass on it that in the game in Madrid, it's going to be the same. Courtois is going to do the same. He's going to save shots that have no business in saving. Players going to throw their bodies on the line just to prevent them conceding. Because if they concede, especially if we score first, bigger chances than not, it's all over. Let's be real. Let's not kid ourselves. But here is the big thing. Don't let them score early. Because 15-20 minutes into the game, they score. This is going to become a massive thing. The pressure. Responsibility. Let's be real. Because Arsenal are in a position where if we beat Real Madrid, everyone will take us seriously if we eliminate Real Madrid. Let's be real. There's no argument about that. We are into semifinals. Maybe we're going to play PSG. Maybe we're going to play Aston Villa. We're going to see that tomorrow. However, if we bottle this 3-0 lead, it's going to be the meme of the ages to some extent. And the biggest issue for me is we create a chance from open play. Let's be real. That's nothing to be embarrassed about. It's pretty much a given that we're gonna create. It took us 3 moments of brilliance to score goals. 3 unique moments to score 3 unique goals. So the question becomes, can we replicate that? Can we do this again? Because now everything shifts towards Real Madrid and we need to score from open play casually, if that is even a thing. Because let's be real, there won't be most likely, let's be real, the chance of Declan Rice replicating what he did at Emirates, it's pretty much less than 1%. Let's not kid ourselves. Merino scoring that chance, let's be real, 9 out of 10 times, as we all saw, he misses it. This was that one time when he hit it on the sweet spot, and it worked. Right? So, the open play in the first 15-20 minutes, first things first, is gonna be the key. And then we go minute by minute, and it all goes from there. In ideal scenario, it is halftime at Bernabeu. It is 0-0 still, or 1-0 Arsenal even. And everyone is in shock. Fans are booing the Real Madrid players and everything. That is the ideal scenario, let's be real. But, based on how Real Madrid do, yes, they are not playing well in La Liga, let's be real. They have been struggling the whole season. To some extent, they have a team of superstars where they basically rely on those superstars. When they don't perform, we saw what happened at Emirates. But I have a very, very bad feeling that it's not going to be the same case in Madrid. That is, for me, the biggest issue. If we throw this away, there is no coming back. Exactly. If we throw this 3-0 lead in the bin and we get eliminated by Real Madrid, especially if it happens in regular time, if we lose 4-0, by the way, if it doesn't go to penalties or something like that, right? There is no coming back. No amount of Gyökeres and Isaks up top. No amount of Nico Williams is on the left wing or Barcolas. No amount of, I don't know, phenomenal Zubimendi at number 6 is gonna save his ass. It's done and dusted then. It genuinely is done and dusted. There's, to some extent, way too much riding on this one game. Let's be real, there's quite a lot riding on this game in general, right? Because when I went into Emirates game, which was first game at home, my first thought was, just don't get destroyed. Just don't get destroyed. And if you can, get a result. Nobody in their wildest dreams predicted 3-0. I know that Hooks predicted a very good result and stuff like that. But I don't think anyone in their even wildest dreams imagined how we gonna dominate and totally annihilate Real Madrid at Emirates. 100% at Bernabeu on Wednesday, it's gonna be a completely different game. 100%, and there is no argument about that. Let's be real. And this is now the big pressure. If we ball, I think it is Team Arteta to leave. Yeah, if we ball, Arteta has to leave. There is no argument about that. And let's be real, Arteta's track record in two-legged cup matches, specifically in the second leg, by the way, is not the greatest, is it? Think about it. Two-legged games, Europa League, Champions League, FA Cup or Carabao Cup you can include. He has a very embarrassing and poor track record. Even if we get a decent result in the first leg, in the second leg, he balls it. Because think about it. Villarreal, we had a semi-decent result away against Emery. Right? I think it finished 3-2, 2-1. We lost. Basically, we needed one goal and go through. Because I think away goals were still a thing then. Emery comes out at Emirates. He stinks out the place, 0-0. Sayonara, suckers. Same goes for Sporting Lisbon. 2-2 away. Lucky 2-2, by the way. It was at the away game. Because we, let's be real, shouldn't have even drawn that game. But we somehow did it. We had to win at the home, and that would be it. What happened in that game? We all remember. Pedro Gonçalves lobs Ramsdale from the halfway line. 1-1, goes to penalties, we lose. This year against Newcastle, 2-0 down after Emirates game, we go to Newcastle, still lose 2-0. And it could have been about 5-6-0. Let's not kid ourselves. Like Bayern Munich as well. Draw at Emirates, decent position, we lose 1-0. We use Edin Nketiah as the super sub to get us over the line. Remember that? It's not looking too great. Against Porto as well, everyone said, Oh, it's Porto, we should be destroying them, right? We barely scraped past Porto. On penalties as well, by the way. Like, we barely did that. 38, 39-year-old Pepe pocketed our whole attacking front. Single-handedly. Like, what are we talking about here? Like, seriously. When we were playing in Portugal against Porto, we didn't even get a shot on target properly. Galeno scored a phenomenal goal outside the box. To some extent, lobbed Raya. Like, Mikel Arteta's track record in two-legged matches, specifically in the second leg, is something that nightmares give people. Those are some storylines that basically horror movies are based upon. There's no argument about that. So, yes, you could say different Arsenal, different team and everything, but we have maybe gone better just because we have been there. We know what could it take. But we have never faced Real Madrid. We have never been to Bernabeu. We don't know what it's like. As I said, besides Odegaard to some extent, nobody knows. Nobody knows. And that for me is the biggest issue. The nerves, the pressure. Because everything is riding on this game. Whole season is riding on this game. And we all know how Arsenal do under massive pressure, by the way. They fold instantly. So this is very, very, very scary for me. Very scary for me. Very big scary hours. I'm not gonna lie. As confident as I may seem to some extent, I'm not that confident at all. I'm excited, but with some precautions. I kid you not. This is not looking too good. Yeah, just keep the ball for the first 10 minutes and sit back. But that is the case. Real Madrid are not gonna do that. They gonna do something they didn't do at the Emirates. They gonna press the hell out of us. I would at least assume so because they're 3-0 down. Counter argument to that, obviously, is that we thrive in these circumstances. When teams press us and we manage to get string passes properly together, we are very dangerous, very, very dangerous. And no team wants to face Arsenal in that regard. But one mistake, 1-0 Real Madrid, and it's squeaky bum time instantly. Genuinely, if Real Madrid score in the first 10 to 20 minutes, I'm gonna be sitting behind this chair and I'm gonna be watching the game through this hole, specifically with one eye. Because I'm gonna be scared of what's gonna happen. Because when it still was 0-0 at Emirates, there was a chance of us going 1-0 down at two times. And Mbappe didn't use his chance to score. Kiwior miskicked the ball in the first 2 times in the first touches, and it was scary. And we have seen also Real Madrid play against Manchester City, a very solid Manchester City at the time. Rodrigo comes on as a sub, 3 minutes, he scores 2 goals, it goes extra time instantly. 2 seconds later, City are eliminated from Champions League. We have seen also that. Like, personally, if there is any team who knows how to step up under massive pressure, it is Real Madrid. Hence why I am scared. I'm not gonna lie, I am scared. Because as cocky as Arsenal fans may think and say that we are through, we're gonna win this and all this stuff, I am genuinely breaking it. I am genuinely breaking it to some extent. Big up Harry. I'm talking a bit more silent, maybe that's why, but I turn it up a bit. I hope it's okay right now. If we go out on Wednesday, I might have to step away from the game for indefinite period. Yeah. To be honest, if we go out on Wednesday, Arteta should be left in Spain. Sack him there. Leave him in Spain. Leave Odegaard with him, by the way. And all these players. I kid you not, because there is no other explanation. There is no other thing to do. Sack him then and get a new manager for the next season. Seriously. Like, nothing else to say and add. And Real Madrid are doing some things they have never done before. Let's see, Real Madrid coaching staff are clinging on to Tchouaméni and Ceballos for the comeback. Ancelotti trusts them to overcome Arsenal on Wednesday. And one of the biggest things that Real Madrid didn't have during the game at Emirates is the defensive part of the midfield. Because Modric cannot press anymore. Valverde, well, he needs to cover Vasquez and right back spot and everything. Camavinga, well, he thinks more of an attack. Yes, he can defend, but he is also half-assing and trying to cover Modric. So it's only Bellingham, and Bellingham plays left mid, by the way, in the game, and tries to cover David Alaba. Because Alaba has been rushed to some extent back from injury, and he defensively was a liability. We all saw that. Bukayo Saka on one leg was hopping circles around him. Now think about it. Tchouaméni in the midfield. Controller, destroyer, whether you'll rate him or not, but he is the holding midfielder. Dani Ceballos. People laugh at him at Arsenal, but he actually is a very good player. He has won countless trophies at Arsenal since he's returned from the loan from Arsenal, and he pushes the ball forward, he attacks, but also he defends. He does both of the things. He has very decent pass. To some extent, you can argue even that he's been one of the best, I would say top 2, top 3 midfielders for Real Madrid this season. Like, don't underestimate Real Madrid in this regard. That is the big thing. That for me is the main thing. And I'm kind of worried about these things. See, and in top of all of these things, there's still Saliba thing going on. Saliba is Real Madrid's most prominent name for the center back position. The club has maintained contacts with him and his agents, by the way. Hello? Especially if we eliminate Real Madrid. 100% they are coming for Saliba. 100% at some point. Groundwork for a potential opportunity is being done for either 2026, well, not after next season, or for a reasonable price, because it will be the last year of his contract, so we either better win or better somehow convince him to sign a contract extension, or for 2027 as the free agent. And it doesn't stop there, by the way. This is the ref for the game. Francois Letexier will referee Real Madrid vs Arsenal at the Bernabeu. And these are the Real Madrid past results under him. They lost last year to Liverpool, they drew to City, they won against Napoli, and they won against Chelsea. He's a very good referee, I'm not gonna lie. But you know, Real Madrid and everything. Obviously, we yesterday talked about the conspiracy that there's a possibility that UEFA they don't want a non-Club World Cup team winning the Champions League, because that makes the Club World Cup kind of a laughingstock. How can you have the Club World Cup without the actual biggest cup holder in the club football? Seriously, imagine Arsenal win it. They're not in Club World Cup. For example, Inter, Bayern Munich, PSG, Real Madrid, those teams are. Barcelona are not in it. So, if there is some funny business as well, don't be surprised. And we all know how Real Madrid gets refereed at times. Yes, there are many calls that go against them, but there are also quite a bit that go for them. And 100%, in my opinion, Dani Ceballos is better than Odegaard. 100% creative, ball pushing, holding and everything. He is better than Odegaard. That is the biggest thing. And where is it? I wanna find something for you all. Champions League at Bernabeu. Look at this. Look at this. And this is, for me, the biggest worry of them all. That, for me, is the biggest worry of them all. Real Madrid versus Paris Saint-Germain. 2-0 down. They're 2-0, right? Well, 1-0 down. Paris, in 60th minute, are 1-0 up. 17 minutes later, they're 3-1 down. And they're out of Champions League. Look at the game against Chelsea. They're 3-0 down, up against Real Madrid at Bernabeu. 20 minutes later, it's 3-2 and Real Madrid are going through on aggregate. Man City, and this is the prime example, this is the game I mentioned, where Rodrigo, in span of few minutes, scored 2 goals coming off the bench. They're 3-5 down. In 89th minute, you wouldn't bet against City losing this game. You would put your mortgage on City winning and going through. However, 5 minutes only. It took only 5 minutes for Real Madrid to score 3 goals right at the death of the game. Rodrigo off the bench scores 2 goals, 3-1 Real Madrid, and they go through an aggregate. Last year against Bayern Munich, Joselu off the bench, phenomenal substitution. How many clutch goals he scored for Real Madrid last year? 10? If not more, off the bench, just carrying out the game. 1-0 down 87th minute. 3 minutes later, 2-1 up, they're going through. Instantly. And of course, against Borussia Dortmund. Remember that last year? 60th minute, 2-0 up. Borussia Dortmund were against Real Madrid. Half an hour later, 5-2. Real Madrid are winning everything. And this for me is one of the biggest worries. This for me personally is one of the biggest worries. Why? This game has so much reason and so much expectation riding upon that we could fall under pressure. And I wouldn't be surprised if Real Madrid actually got one over us. This is the reason. They need 3 goals, which seems a lot. If it was almost any other team in the world, it seems a lot. If it was Barcelona, PSG, you would say, yes, maybe they can score. If it's Real Madrid, maybe, based on how they've been performing this season. But Bernabeu, it's not just a stadium, what it feels like. It's a living thing. And as I said, not many, well, to be honest, no one besides Odegaard of our players has played there. And the occasion, I wouldn't be surprised if they get to some of our players. And it takes one mistake, 1-0 Real Madrid, and we have squeaky bump time instantly, especially if it happens early in the game. 2-0 by half time. Let's be real. Arteta is gonna park the bus. We're gonna concede, and then it's gonna be 3-0. We will have spent so much energy defending that we will have no energy going forwards, and it's gonna be just a matter of time until they finish us. Like, people want to say that this is all but over. Real Madrid have been awful this season, but I just wouldn't. I wouldn't write Real Madrid off. Hence why I started the stream with saying that betting sites, predictors, and everyone else are giving Arsenal only, and in this instance it is only, 80% of going through, which means Real Madrid have 20% of progressing as well. Yes, they have 1% or less than 1% of winning Champions League, but at the same time, 20% still going through in Champions League quarterfinals whilst being 3-0 down. Those odds are absolutely insane, if you ask me. And that for me is the biggest worry. Biggest worry. And it doesn't stop there, because I have some things. And here is one of them. Whoop, my bad. And here is one of them. According to John Cross, hey, it is what it is, Thomas Partey suffered a knock against Brentford. That is one of the things that is one of the biggest issues for me. Because if Thomas Partey doesn't play, we have no midfield. That is, for me, a big worry. And being assessed, but Arsenal hope, they only hope, that he will be fit to face Real Madrid on Wednesday. Which now starts to make me think, oh bloody hell, what are we going to do? Because Jorginho is 100% out. It looked like he cracked a rib or something, he couldn't breathe, hence why we finished the game, the last 15 minutes of the game, with 10 men. But Thomas Partey was forced off with a substitution. And now that this is confirmed, that he is fully not ready still, it is a massive worry for me. I'm not gonna lie. And the biggest question of them all is, tomorrow, obviously, is the pre-match interview. I wonder what will Mikel Arteta say in this interview. What will he say? That for me is the next big question. And specifically in regarding Thomas Partey, because if we don't have Thomas Partey, we might as well fold it. Because look at this. Look at this. If we do this, right? Can you see it properly? Yes, you can. Here we go. Obviously, we put Raya in goal. Right back most likely is gonna be Timba. I would assume so. Now, moving on. Saliba. Kivior. It's gonna be Kivior, let's be real. And the back line will be Skelly, of course. And now we move into midfield, where I'm not gonna lie, and excuse my French, shit gets real. I just say it as it is. It's about to go down, and it's gonna get real really, really, really fast. Let me know in the live chat. Let me know in the live chat, right? What you think is gonna be the midfield. What's gonna be the midfield for us in the game against Real Madrid? Because it's not looking good, I'm not gonna lie. If Partey is out, it is genuinely not looking good at all. So I am a bit worried, I'm not gonna lie. I am hella worried and I don't know what to even put there. Like, it's a bit peakums, I'm not gonna lie. It is a bit peakums in that regard. So midfield. Who are we gonna put in the midfield? Like, genuine question. Yeah, see? Rice, Merino, Odegaard. And that for me is Rice goes into the 6. Merino goes on the left. And Odegaard goes on the right. Saka obviously starts. Martinelli starts. An only option we have for false 9, well, false 9, number 9, is Trossard. And as decent as it seems on paper right now, let's talk about substitutions. Who is gonna be the impact sub? Who is gonna be the substitute in the midfield, specifically when Merino is gonna tire out? When Odegaard needs to come off because he's gonna get hooked off most likely. Like, seriously, now is the big questions. Let's ask the big questions now. Because you can see potentially Wanyeri coming on for Saka. Maybe Sterling even coming on for Martinelli or Trossard or something like that. Maybe we can do something in defense even though we don't have anyone. What is gonna happen with the midfield? Who are we gonna play in the midfield? That for me is the big question now. Because who are we gonna sub on as a midfield? If let's just say Partey is out, Jorginho cannot play, and this is our midfield right now. Rice, Merino, Odegaard. Who else is going to be in the midfield? Salam Khan from under 21s? Max Dauman from under 18s? Who? Like, serious question. And now imagine we don't have these substitutes off the bench and we go to extra time. Seriously, we go to extra time. With Real Madrid's bench depth, they will eat us alive, let's be real. They gonna eat us alive. On the bench, they gonna sub on Endrick, and what we gonna do? Like, they gonna sub on someone and they have Brahim Diaz, Arda Güler. Depending who where starts, they might have even Modric off the bench. And they're gonna eat us alive. That for me is now the biggest worry in this regard. And even if Partey plays, right, Merino is gonna go up top, which still leaves us with the same issue. Unless we put Merino in the midfield at some point, and we put Trossard in the 9. Still, the midfield is not good enough, is it? We are still lacking. We are still lacking passing. We are still lacking developments. We are still lacking ball movement and everything. So now the big questions are getting asked, and let's be real. There are no answers. Because this squad has been built in such a way that we have nobody. We seriously have nobody. Look at the game who we had on the bench last time we faced Real Madrid. This was our bench. And it's genuinely looking quite gruesome, let's just put it that way. Kieran Tierney came on for left back. Totally get that. Ben White, no idea what's gonna happen with him. Trossard, if he starts. Zinchenko is the only player we can sub on. Vanjeri and Sterling. That's about it. We can sub on Zinchenko in the 10 because he actually is playing better there than Odegaard has done the whole season. And that's about it. That is the worst part. That is it. And look at Real Madrid. Brahim Diaz, Fran Garcia, Arda Güler, Endrick. They have players to sub on. They also have now Tchouaméni back. Yes, Camavinga is gone, but still. So their bench depth is much, much deeper than ours. Much deeper than ours. And I'm like, if shit hits the fan, it's gonna hit the fan hard. Let's just put it that way. It genuinely is going to hit the fan quite heavily, to say the least. I'm not gonna lie. Anyhow, some transfer rumors regarding Arsenal. For the second part of the stream, so it's not all doom and gloom, pray for Madrid, and, pray for Arsenal and all that stuff. Arsenal youth left back Elian Quesada Thorn, who, Costa Rican apparently, is set to leave the club this summer after a decade in the academy. I'm not gonna lie, never seen him play. Can anyone explain me what this guy, how good is this guy? If we are letting him go, is it good or bad and all this stuff? Because personally, I have no idea. I genuinely have no idea what to do, how to do, and why to do it. Now, give me a second. Give me a second. Give me a second. Give me 1 second. One second. 1 second. Here we go. Is he even good? Is he bad? I have genuinely no idea. That for me is the big question. That's the thing. Big up Elizabeth. That's what I'm saying. Madrid will bounce back. Real Madrid will bounce back. And that's what the first 40 minutes of this stream has been about. Straight up. That's what this has been all about. The stream in the first 40. Real Madrid will bounce back. And if they score early, it's squeaky bum time. It's pressure, it's nerves, instantly everything. If we score first, bigger chances than not the tie is over. If Real Madrid score first, and mind you early, you potentially can lock it off. Because we don't have players who can change the game off the bench. Yes, Vanjeri can come on. Sterling can come on. Zinchenko can come on. Tierney. But overall, we have nobody that can change the game and turn it on its head if push comes to shove. Because this is now the biggest problem. Jorginho is out, obviously. What would Jorginho even do to some extent? But Thomas Partey has suffered a knock against Brentford and is still being assessed. The scans have come back apparently and everything, and he's still being assessed. And Arsenal hope he will be fit to face Real Madrid on Wednesday. And it's not even confirmed that he will be ready to face Real Madrid on Wednesday. Which means that if he doesn't play, our midfield is gonna be shambolic. We're gonna have Declan Rice in the 6. We're gonna have super slow Merino most likely in the 8. Because I much rather see Merino in the 8 than Zinchenko, because I think Zinchenko is more of a 10 than an 8 in general. And Odegaard is gonna be in the 10. Zinchenko may come on as a sub. Maybe. But besides that, we have no changers. Nothing that can change anything. That for me is the biggest worry. Anyhow, according to Pletty Goal, and this is a big worry for me because I'm kinda don't want him. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not a big fan anymore of Kingsley Coman. Maybe about 5-6 years ago, yes. Right now, no chance in hell. But Arsenal have approached Kingsley Coman about potential summer move. Apparently, that is just strictly a rumor, and whatever that sports is, they'd be in the second best club fit for Coman after Bayern Munich. Apparently. According to this scientific sports website, development would be 5 stars. That sounds nuts. Playing time is 1 star, which is very interesting because there's a possibility we lose Trossard this summer. Let's not beat around the bush here, right? And if Coman comes in, he will play. Let's be real. He actually will play more than they think. He will actually start some games, potentially even. And that for me is the big question. How do they make these metrics? Playing style fits Coman, apparently 3 out of 5, 60%. It is what it is. And formation fits 4 out of 5. So overall, on average, it's 3 out of 5 stars. So again, not the greatest signing. But personally, I don't want Coman anymore. I don't want him. Maybe 3 years ago, yes. 4 years ago, yes, 100%. This year, no chance. Because again, Coman, one of the biggest drawbacks with Coman is the injuries. And that again is for me the biggest worry with Arsenal again. Are we again gonna sign an injury prone player? Because if I look at what Kingsley Coman has done this season, what has he done this season for Bayern Munich? He has played 10 games in Champions League. He has 1 goal. That's going well. And in Bundesliga, he has played 23 games, 4 goals, 4 assists. And if we look at his injury record, it's definitely nothing to be excited about, to say the least. Let's just put it that way. If it only would load, that is the biggest question. Will it load in time? Otherwise, it's genuinely it's slow. Here we go. Look at this. He has 4 pages of injuries. 4. And this season alone, he has missed 3 games with torn muscle, 1 game because of rest, 1 game because of knock, and 3 games because of fitness. So overall, he has missed 8 games. Before that, 8 with adductor, 1 with muscle, 1 with knee, ligament tear, again, torn muscle, another muscle, knock, another muscle, another muscle, another muscle. And given how many muscular injuries we are getting this season in general, the fact that everyone gets a hamstring, a muscle tear, ACL, something like that, does that sound like a player that fits in Arsenal? Obviously, if you're a troll, you're gonna say yes, because it's an injury FC. But our training ground, apparently, is so hard that it's built on a car park, right? So it's definitely something rough, something tough, and all that stuff. And it kind of induces you to get injured. It kind of makes you injured. Let's just put it that way. And now, all of a sudden, higher intensity, higher stuff going on. It genuinely is not looking good. And that alone, with Coman wanting about most likely 200 plus grand a week, definitely is not a signing I would make if I was at Arsenal. 100% I wouldn't. Here is a bit of a different one. And this is something I don't know what to make of. Because Bayern Munich already, after 1 season, are willing to sell João Palhinha. A Premier League return is possible, and it's also added that manager Vincent Kompany is not a fan of Palhinha. So why the hell did you sign him in the first place, you bumbaclap? That's the first question. And second one is, would you take him at Arsenal? That for me is the biggest question, personally, if it was a possibility. Because last summer, the way Arsenal fans were said, oh, why we didn't sign João Palhinha 2 summers ago. Oh, why we didn't sign João Palhinha. He's destroying us. He's a fantastic number 6 and all this stuff. All has disappeared. But now he's available again. The question is, would you, as an Arsenal fan, be satisfied, happy, excited, whatever the term is, if we signed João Palhinha at Arsenal? Would you be excited? Do you think it's a proper player to replace Thomas Partey, for example? Because this guy is an absolute destroyer and annihilator as a number 6. We all saw how he played for Fulham under Marcos Silva. He's one of the main reasons why we drew or lost against Fulham. Because last year, when in the beginning of the season, when we were playing Partey as a right back, that one of the infamous games, when we played against 10-man Fulham at the Emirates, João Palhinha was the guy who scored that infamous corner to make it 2-2. Let's not forget about that. He's 6'3", 6'4", something like that. So based by the metrics of those, he kind of fits with Mikel Arteta quite fantastically. Never rated this guy. You don't like João Palhinha? I'm not saying I do, but I think he could be something different for midfield. Because for me, he is a massive destroyer. If he sits deep in the 6 and everything, I don't mind that. The question is, if Arsenal sign, for example, Zubimendi, right? We need someone like Palhinha in that 6 role so we can rotate and we can adjust the midfield based on the opposition we play. Because finding a player of the same mold as Thomas Partey is quite tough these days. Let's be real. A guy who can do both things, be destroyer, annihilator, and at the same time distribute the ball, be passer and everything. Hence why I'm a bit of a believer in the fact that Partey, for example, we sign Zubimendi, if we sign Zubimendi, obviously, and Palhinha could be the other one. Personally, it's a gamble. I'm not gonna lie, but hey, it is what it is. Yeah, if this was a possibility, if there was a possibility to extend Thomas Partey's contract, I would be 1000% for it. Question is, will Arsenal? Because in the recent times, the last week or so, as much as talk and as much as rumors and reports and ITKs and journalists have spoken on Thomas Partey, right? Most of them are saying that there are no talks. It's very silent on that regard. Arsenal don't plan to sign him on a new deal. And obviously there's also interest from Barcelona, Juventus, and teams like that. Why would he? To some extent. Genuinely, why would he? Personally, if Thomas Partey can perform like he does this season and how he did against Real Madrid most of the times, I'm all for it. If he can stay injury-free, especially like he has this season, I'm genuinely all for it. Arguably, he's been the best midfielder for us this season. Obviously, after the Real Madrid stuff, what Declan Rice did, he maybe has topped him. But to some extent, Thomas Partey has been the best midfielder for Arsenal this season. There is very strong argument for that. So, time obviously only will tell, but it looks like he might become available. Here is what William Saliba said about Real Madrid game. We don't have to be scared going there. We have to go there and win and not defend the whole game. Not sure if those are indirect shots at Mikel Arteta, who plans to park the bus or something. But I totally respect and understand William Saliba. Genuinely, I totally understand. We don't have to be scared, that's first things first. We don't genuinely no respect whatsoever since it's Real Madrid, right? have to go there and win. And that is something that I totally respect about Saliba. I see that he's a winner. He wants to win. He wants trophies. And let's be real, if Arsenal cannot provide him with that over the next year or two, he's going to Madrid at the end of the day. There's also that, of course. And we cannot just sit back and the whole game, because we cannot genuinely sit back and defend, because if as the more pressure we invite from Real Madrid, the bigger will be the chances that we're gonna lose the game. We need to play our game like we, maybe not to the same level as we did against Real Madrid at Emirates, but to a certain extent 100%. Oh my days, I just read a comment from a top gunner that says give Mikel license to go trophyless and... Oh. License to go trophyless. I don't want to say anything because I'm gonna get very rude, but yo, some of these fans, like beyond saving to some extent, they probably will cry when Mikel Arteta gets sacked, and even if we sign the best manager in goddamn football, they will be still pissed off. Here it is. A bit of a confirmation that if Thomas Partey is not fit for the Wednesday game, Mikel Merino is about to play midfield. That is basically the latest speculation coming out of Spain, specifically, since there is still no clarification on Thomas Partey and current situation. And this guy also said if Mikel balls it versus Real Madrid, we fans should cheer him when he arrives back at the airport. Yeah, support pain, support losing. Like seriously. 3-0 and you support balling that. This mentality just shows, to some extent, how people approach life. Just gonna say it as it is. This mentality just shows how people approach life. If you fail, if you don't succeed, don't worry about it. And if you screw it up, well, don't worry, everyone's gonna stand by your side. But at the end of the day, let's be real. Losing attracts losers, winning attracts winners. And that's about it. There's no other way around it. That's enough swear or X for today. 100%. Get off that platform for today. 100%. Get off it as soon as possible. This is a nuts one. This was a weird one. According to Defensa Central, which obviously is not the most reliable to say the least, let's just put it that way, but Real Madrid striker Kylian Mbappe has asked the club personally, apparently, to negotiate a deal with Arsenal to sign William Saliba. Thoughts on this? Thoughts on this specifically? What are your thoughts on this? They already are just praying they get William Saliba. Obviously, it might not be true because it's just a random rumor, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's real. Right? You can say it's fake, don't trust it, and all this stuff. But at the end of the day, where there is smoke, there is fire. We all know that Real Madrid wants Saliba. We all know that they're in contact with Saliba, the agents, trying to poach him maybe in 2026 when 1 year is left on the deal for a reasonable price, maybe on a free and stuff like that. But let's be real. At Real Madrid, there's Tchouaméni, Camavinga, Mendy, Mbappe, all French internationals who have won stuff. Consistently with Real Madrid, by the way. Who win stuff with Real Madrid. And they look at Saliba, they look that he doesn't win anything at Arsenal, and probably send shots to him in this regard, take the mick out of him in the group chats and when they meet for international duty. So to some extent, I totally understand it. And to some extent, as much as I hate to say this, it is a matter of time. Especially if we don't win. If Arteta doesn't start winning, it is just a matter of time until Saliba leaves. Maybe if we get a new manager and he wins stuff, or he has the ability to convince Saliba to stay, maybe there is something to it. But ultimately, I don't think whilst Mikel Arteta is here, there's a possibility that we keep Saliba. And this is why we need to win trophies as quickly as possible. Don't listen to these top gooners who say Arteta can go trophyless till 2030, the morons and everything. We should support if he loses and everything, balls the 3-0 against Madrid. Don't listen to that. Because every statement like this, every situation like this, brings us closer to the inevitable fact that some of our main guys are going to leave. Saliba, Gabriel, who else is there? Think about it. There's also maybe even Saka at some point. Saka can say all he wants, that he wants to win trophies at Arsenal. But at some point the penny is gonna drop. And he will not want to end up like Harry Kane. Whole career at Spurs and has Audi Cup to show for it. That's about it. He will not want that. If he has any ambition at Arsenal and in general for his career whatsoever, he will maybe hold back the contract extension talks and see how this season ends and then decide. Let's be real. Because based on how this club has done business so far, I have very, very, very little belief that anything is gonna change soon. Yes, we can win maybe at some point, somehow. But the biggest pain is that we actually might do it after they have left. That is the biggest thing. And that for me is the biggest worry. But hey, it is what it is. Here is another phenomenal stat for Arsenal this season and compared to previous 2 seasons while we have challenged. Arsenal have dropped 1 less point from winning positions this season than previous 2 campaigns combined, by the way. So in last season and season before, we dropped 17 points from winning positions. This season alone, we have dropped 16 points from winning positions. And people want to tell me Arsenal are not regressing. Arsenal have not gone worse. We cannot match the point total. We cannot match the goal total we scored last year and everything. We don't have a striker in the Premier League who has more than 10 goals this season. No one. Saka has been out for 2 months, yeah? December, January, 3 months, 3.5 months, and he still is the assist leader in the club. He had this amount of assists he had before in December when he got injured. Nobody even came close to him. Kai Havertz has been injured since mid-January, and he still is Arsenal's top goal scorer. Like, make it make sense. Like, seriously, make it make sense. Like, serious talk. Which club operates like this? And to make matters worse, to add on top of this stat, Arsenal have drawn 12 games this season. Only Everton have drawn more, which is 14, right? And Brighton also have drawn 12. Arsenal have drawn 12 games, which ultimately means we have gotten 12 points out of 36 possible, which means we have lost 24 points, which means we have basically lost 8 games. That accumulates to 8 games. I much rather win a game and lose a game rather than just draw those 2 games. Because if I win and lose, I get 3 points. If I draw 2 games, I get only 2. Simple math. Simple bloody math. Let's be real. There's no questions about it. It's simple freaking math. And if you cannot compute this, it's on you. Oh, shocking display of things. Arsenal have no plans to sign Raheem Sterling on a permanent deal. In other news, war is wet. Swiftly moving on. And this is the last one for today. If you haven't already, by the way, smash the thumbs up. Subscribe if you're new around here. And leave your thoughts in the live chat or in comments below if you're watching this as a playback. Apparently, Crystal Palace have identified Jakub Kiwior as a potential successor to Mark Guehi, whose long-term future at the club at the moment is uncertain. That's according to transfer.com. Obviously, it's no secret that teams like Newcastle, United, and teams like that are poaching for Mark Guehi, for him to go to them. That's not a big secret, let's be real. But Crystal Palace have decided that Jakub Kiwior is the guy who's gonna replace him. That, for me, is a bit of a question mark, I'm not gonna lie. How does that even work? How does that make... Sorry. How does that make any sense? Like, serious talk. Okay, if you want Kiwior so badly, how about a swap deal? Kiwior plus 40-50 million and you give us Wharton. How about that? Maybe that's gonna work. Obviously, last year we could have gone Olise, we didn't. Well, that's on Mikel Arteta, obviously, and on Edu. Maybe Eze. Maybe. I still think Eze could be a decent player for us, but hey, it is what it is. Some people don't agree with me. That's their choice as well. But yeah, it is a bit of a different one. Big up Red Skull. Big up facts. Adam Wharton. Yeah. If you want Kiwior so badly, give us Adam Wharton. Kiwior plus 50 million for Wharton. I think works. Works like a charm. And as a number 6, as a holding one, yeah. He would work, actually. He would. The issue with this is the only issue. According to rumors and according to reports from ITKs and all this stuff, journalists, Crystal Palace want 100 million for Wharton. And to be honest, I kind of get why. He's one of their best players. He's English, so English tax applies. He's Premier League, so Prem tax applies. He's still 18, I think. So you buy also the potential, which basically accumulates together, just like with Declan Rice, instead of 50, 60 million, something like that, up to 100. Because Declan Rice as well, for me, he's about 70 million type of sorry, midfielder, right? 70 million or stuff like that. So, we'll see, 70 million for me, but yeah. Wharton is 21. Oh, I see, that's my bad. I thought he was 18. But yeah, 21, still you're buying the potential. And they still want 100 million, which is kind of nuts if you ask me. 100 million seems hella nuts. So, we'll see how that goes. But if they want Kiwior, maybe we can strike a deal. Yesterday we talked about these transfer rumors where Arsenal's priorities are a striker, winger, 2 midfielders, and a backup goalkeeper, right? Basically, signing a defender is reliant on who we sell, which leads me to believe we have enough money to buy all those players, and if we sell, then we can buy some defenders. At least that's how I see it, if you can trust any of those ITKs and journalists, right? But yeah, hopefully. So far, nothing new on Naipan. Nothing new on Naipan. My biggest worry with Naipan in this instance is, my only issue with Naipan is that if we sign him, right? As cool as it sounds, it means nothing. Because for me, one of the biggest things for Arsenal that needs is a proper backup for Odegaard who lights up, fire up his ass for a change. Because Odegaard is in a position where he basically knows he gets 240 bags a week. He can drop stinker after stinker every single bloody game, yet he knows he's gonna start every other next game because he's the captain and there is nobody to replace him. And I think, just like some other players, they have gotten very comfortable in their position, very complacent in terms of, well, if I do something wrong, it is what it is. What they're gonna do? They cannot replace me anyways. They have nobody to do it with. So they maybe afford to do some other things. I think I see an article that Villa is gonna sign him. Yeah, regarding Naipan, obviously in January he met with Villa. They presented him their project for him. They met also with Man City. He met with Man City project. There were promises of him getting loaned out to Girona and everything. And obviously he also met with Arsenal's board, and we presented our project, but he decided not to move in January. He wanted to finish the season with Rosenborg and everything, so time only will tell. But in summer, well, we have to wait and see how's that gonna happen. I prefer Ryan Cherky as a backup for him. To be honest, Ryan Cherky is, I would say, better than Odegaard. The issue with this is, it doesn't matter in a way who we sign. Because it's quite evident that Mikel Arteta, first things first, favors Odegaard over anyone in that position, because Zinchenko has played 2 games as a number 10 against PSV and against Everton. Everton was it? No, Brentford, sorry, against Brentford. And he has done quite well, good job there, let's be real. Great goal against PSV, very good movements, passing and touches and thread the needle type passes and out of pressure situations, good dribbling against Brentford. He has done in a way more than Odegaard has done this season, to some extent. More dangerous going forwards. Because Zinchenko doesn't take 55 touches, doesn't do ring around the rosy, doesn't pass it backwards every single time, and doesn't slow down the gameplay. So for me, Cherky would be quite fantastic option. He was available in January, I think, for about 20 odd million, I think. But don't quote me on that one. My memory might be deceiving me, right? But the biggest thing is, to some extent, it doesn't matter who we sign unless Mikel Arteta changes his ways of how he manages the players and how he coaches the players. Because I'm very strong on this, that he misplays certain players out of position, which make them look much worse than they are, actually. He makes them take on different roles, which makes them look worse than they actually are. And certain players are just not it. Like, if you cannot coach them, why sign them at the end of the day? Yeah, Saka also needs competition, because he should have scored. Yeah, Saka should have scored on Saturday. That thing where he took a ball of Flecken, I think it was. He should have scored. But it coincides not just with the fact that he has no competition, but more of the fact as well that, as much as this will sound weird, but the fact that he has just come back from injury. I strongly believe that Saka is not fully fit still. You can see him not doing full sprints on the pitches, tracking back still. He tries, but he doesn't do it to full extent. He is out of practice, and he needs to readjust to the game after the surgery and everything. So I kind of think that if this was Saka before injury, he most likely shoots it and it's back of the net, right? If he doesn't, if he just screwed it, then it's on him. Honestly, the reason I felt why Arteta don't play Zini is because he doesn't want him to get injured. Maybe. For me, the biggest thing, I totally get that, because we have some injury-prone players, yeah? But for me, the question is, why just don't play them when there is a possibility? Odegaard was injured for 57 days, if I'm not mistaken. He didn't play them whatsoever there. No Vanieri, no Zinchenko, right? I kind of believe that Arteta is afraid to be proven wrong to some extent. Because if he plays Vanieri in that 10 whilst Odegaard is injured, if he plays Zinchenko while Odegaard is injured, and they perform very, very good, it means that his star boy, Odegaard, is not as good as he wants us to believe. And if someone like Zinchenko or a 17-year-old Vanieri shows up, our captain Martin Odegaard, Arteta looks like a fool at the end of the day. Because this guy, 240 bags a week, captain of Norway, captain of Arsenal, the creative spark who has the same amount of assists as Man City's goalkeeper Ederson, by the way. And if he gets shown up by Zinchenko or by Vanieri, Arteta looks like a fool at the end of the day. Kind of get the feeling of that as well. Saka does this though, not great going through one-on-one. Yeah, against Bayern as well. Yeah. Instead of shooting, he just went to the ground and was begging for a penalty. Yeah, he did that. I remember, yeah. Wrong choice there as well, exactly. That guy needs to be sold if he's injured. We can't. To be honest, we need to sell about 7-8 players. And we need to sign about 5-6. So it's definitely going to be a rough one. Andrea Berta genuinely has the whole weight and expectations of Arsenal's fans on his shoulders, 100%. Fact, Arteta needs to be blamed for us not winning the league. He should have played the under... He should have. Yeah, he should have. He had a chance. He didn't. Because in the 10th spot, he played Trossard, Havertz, everyone else, even Merino, instead of Odegaard. And when also Saka was injured and he could have played Vanieri, he played Trossard, he played Martinelli, he played Havertz, until us as fans started riots on social media pretty much, screaming on why the hell Vanieri is not getting a chance. Arsenal social media most likely saw that, and all of a sudden, we have to do something. Next game, Vanieri starts. Like, go figure. Berta looked pissed watching he looked pissed watching Fulham, watching Brentford, watching Everton. He looked pissed even when he was at the training ground walking around and watching how players are training. He genuinely knows that half of this squad needs in the bin. Look at City. Pep played 3 to 4 under 21s. Exactly. Klopp last year in the cup schooled our pretty much main team with his under 21s team. I think it was the semi-finals. No, it was the replay in a cup game because we drew at Anfield and he came to the Emirates and schooled us with his under 21 team pretty much. Like, but Arteta and everything. Give him more contracts and all that crap. But hey, it is what it is, I guess. But yeah, I think on that note, I'm gonna end today's stream. We have talked about this. This Arteta guy is not a great manager when it comes to risk and management. Yeah, he's very safe. He is very safe. Think about it. How many times do you see our players make risky passes during games? When we have an opening to play the ball between two defenders to run in between the lines or behind the lines, Odegaard 9 times out of 10 turns around, passes back to Saliba, Gabriel, or passes to Saka. Same that Martinelli does it and others do as well. Let's be real. Big up my boss. Big up. But yeah, as I said, I think we have covered everything today. Pray for Arsenal and all that stuff. And we as fans need to pressure him. We need to, but let's be real. They're not going to do this because most of Arsenal's fan base still love Arteta. They don't hold him accountable for anything he does. And they do think he's the best thing since sliced bread. Best looking Spaniard we know. He can do no wrong. Could we blow a 3-goal lead? There is a possibility of that, let's be real. Betting sites are giving Real Madrid Arsenal 80%, only 80% of going through, which means they give still Real Madrid 20% of progressing. I swear to God, if this guy loses Wednesday, leave him in Spain together with Odegaard. Don't care. Leave him in Spain, sack him there on the spot, in the tunnel, let him enjoy the Bernabeu shopping malls and everything. We're gonna go back to let the team come back. Put Erpod Albert in charge till the end of the season because the season is done anyways in Premier League, and then in summer hire a proper manager. But yeah, I think on that note I'm gonna end today's stream. So if you haven't already, smash the thumbs up, smash the like button, destroy it, caress it, hammer it, however you do it, just do it please. Helps a lot, helps the algorithm and everything. If you haven't already, subscribe if you are new. And leave your thoughts down in the live chat. Oh, not in the live chat, I'm going off, I'm going to bed. Leave the thoughts down in comments below if you're watching this as a playback, or you have anything you want to maybe potentially discuss in tomorrow's stream. So for today, I am out. Take care, stay safe, and see you all tomorrow. Peace.